Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Rusty 78609, Central Texas, USA. It is 9:53 a.m., 50 degrees, misty, and I'm not going to play golf. So I'm taking a drive into Walmart to do a little shopping. That's enough said about that. What I want to talk about this morning was, some people want to know how it was when I was growing up in Kennedy, Texas in the 50s. I'm 73 years old. And so this story popped into my mind as I was driving down here on Park Road 4 going into town in Central Texas. One viewer a while back asked me if I played athletics or football when I was in high school, since in Texas football is a big deal. High school football is business, I'm telling you. Big business. And the answer to that is this. In Kennedy, Texas, when I was, a freshman in high school, 14 years old, roughly, in that range, whatever it was. In Kennedy, Texas at that time, we had the worst football team in history, okay? If we won a game, it was a cause for a celebration in a whole season. But we got the school board, apparently, and the citizens got tired of that crap, and they decided to hire a real football coach. Two of them, and they did. They hired a guy named Bill Nelson, Coach Nelson, and his assistant was an Indian, and I can't remember his name, or Native American, and they both came together. And I don't know if they'd ever worked before or not at other schools, but they had Coach Nelson had a winning background. When he was coaching, his teams won a lot. And so the first thing that he introduced into Kennedy High School was football camp. Football camp meant you went and lived at the high school for 2 weeks prior to the start of school, and you practiced. You practiced for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, and in the middle of the day you did what was called skull sessions, where you went over plays and stuff and watched videos and stuff. And of course they were using the old, I can't remember, 8mm film back then, the old had the projectors and all that stuff. And he would show game films, he'd show what was going wrong and who did what wrong, and etc. Because he had films from other games where he had coached. But anyway, to even be able to play, you had to weigh over 100 pounds. Well, I'll tell you how big I was. I didn't think I could pass the 100-pound limit. Okay, I knew I didn't weigh 100 pounds. So some buddies of mine said, hey man, before you take the weight test, just drink as much water as you can hold. Well man, I did. I just flooded myself with water. And sure enough, I took the weight test and I weighed 102 pounds, just enough to allow me to play football. Well, then you go into the locker room and they issue you some equipment. Everything was too big for me. Thigh pads, my little old skinny legs, those thigh pads, look, you might as well have been a side of a house on each leg. And of course, then back then we had knee pads, thigh pads, hip pads, shoulder pads. What else? I don't remember any other pads at that time. And the old shoes you wore had the old hard plastic cleats that were about 3/4 of an inch long. And God help you if you got stepped on. Because it would leave tracks on you, and sometimes those plastic things would come off, or some of the players would take them off, and then there was just a screw sticking out, and so they would didn't step on a star player and destroy him. But anyway, that's enough said. That doesn't help about my career. But anyway, so I get issued all this equipment that basically didn't fit. Even my helmet, when I ran, it bounced up and down on my head like Ichabod Crane. It was just ridiculous. I looked like a scarecrow. I knew it. I felt good. I was a strong kid because I was an old farm boy and I had a lot of scrap in me, but there wasn't enough of me to scrap. You know what I mean? Some of those guys weighed, back then, a big kid weighed 180 pounds. That was a freaking giant. Now that would be, he wouldn't even qualify for anything. But back then, 180 pounds was big. 160 was big, and me, 100 was a gnat, and and so we had some players that were in that range. back then, I can't remember exactly, but I would say our lineman average weight probably close to 180, which was a big line for a single A high school in Texas. And but anyway, at the football camp, of course, the practices were hard and all that stuff, but I was in pretty good shape. We had to run a mile and all that stuff. It was basically like basic training in the military, but not quite that bad, because we ate in the lunchroom, and after lunch took a nap. It was actually a lot of fun. Football camp, they don't do that anymore, but they did then. Or Coach Nelson did, let's say that. And so for 2 weeks we were there, and you could come and go. In the evenings, we'd go down to the Dairy Queen, get a hamburger or something, and let all the girls squeal at us, and you'd make eyes at all the cheerleaders and all that crap. But anyway, yeah, it was that. And on the weekends, you were off. You didn't stay there on the weekends. Friday afternoon about 2 or 3 o'clock we were done, and then you'd report back on Sunday night about 8 p.m. and then be ready for practice on Monday morning. That was for 2 weeks. But anyway, enough said about that. Well, anyway, we got to football camp for 2 weeks, and then we started doing scrimmages. Okay, now scrimmage meant you just went to another town somewhere and played a practice game, and so Coach Nelson, of course, he picked some of the tougher teams to scrimmage, AA, AAA football teams for us to scrimmage against. His theory was, if you play the best, then you'll get better. Well, it worked. Anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with me, but for me individually, I was a total idiot. I mean, I was a little guy. And whenever we had the skull sessions, and I was an end, I was like right end, whatever that meant to anybody in the world back then, I don't know. It didn't mean much to me. All I knew is that on certain plays I had to run certain routes, and I couldn't remember half of them, because what they would do, we had a quarterback, and there was what they call a live color. The quarterback would say, red, 23. Well, red was the live color, and whatever he said after that was the play, what the play had been changed to, because he'd look out at the defense and see what it was, and then he'd change it sometimes at the line of scrimmage after we came out of the huddle. And even in the huddle, I couldn't hardly hear anything, because sometimes my helmet would be turned sideways because it was so damn big. And also, that was the beginning at the time where they wore face masks. I had just one little bar for a face mask on mine. And some of the linemen didn't have face masks at all, the little bar or whatever. But I did. And oh God, let me tell you, if it could have made a movie of that, it would have won a comedy award everywhere in the world, because here I was, and I didn't get to go play much, because obviously I wasn't very big, and I certainly wasn't a hero of our team. People weren't looking forward to me going in. You understand? I mean, people weren't in the stands saying, "Send Rusty in, send Rusty in." No. You never heard that. If you did, well, my family never attended the games, and I think it was because of utter embarrassment, But anyway, having said that, in the scrimmages, I remember we were scrimmaging. I want to say it was like Sinton. That's a town near the coast of Texas, a little bigger school, might have been about the same size. Anyway, and coach sent me in. Oh my God! I thought, oh crap, And of course the play was called. And the quarterback, of course, I knew that the ball was coming to me. I knew it. All I had to do was run into what was called then the suicide zone. Right, you just went out a little bit and then turned directly left. Right between the offense and the defense, about 8 yards deep. Oh, it was suicide, because as soon as you caught the ball, you knew you were going to be dead. And anyway. Well, as luck had it, at least I knew what I was supposed to do. I remember that. I had that much in my brain. So anyway, the ball snaps. They snapped the ball to the quarterback. He goes back. I'm humping it to do my route just perfect. Made the turn. Here comes the ball. But I couldn't hardly lift my arm, because my shoulder pads hung down so far on my arms that I had to really practice just getting my hands up so I could catch the football. Catching the football was easy. Getting my arms up was the trick, because the damn shoulder pads, they weren't soft pads back then. They were hard plastic pads. I mean, they were like armor. But anyway, having said that, what else? Oh, anyway, here comes the ball. I'm nervous as hell. I mean, I couldn't have spit. That's all. There was no water in my mouth. But anyway, here comes the ball, and it was like it was all in slow motion. Anyway, I mean, here comes the ball. Anyway, I put up my hands, and sure enough, fortunately, I caught the ball, and as soon as I caught it, I mean, no sooner than I had my hands and I had pulled it in, I was hit by the giant from the other team. I mean, kapow! And then there's a little pileup. You know, there's like 3 or 4 guys on top of me. And I thought, hell, I'm dead. It's over. I mean, there's not going to be enough left of me to haul off the football field. But anyway, whenever they got off, I stood up and I thought, oh shit, I'm blind. I can't see. They have made me blind. Well, what it was, somebody had grabbed my face mask and pulled my helmet around so I was looking out the ear hole of my helmet. My eyes were a little above the ear hole and I couldn't see any light hardly. And I'm sure the crowd thought, my God, look at him. He's just looking off to the right. What's he looking off to the right for? I wasn't looking off to the right. My helmet was turned sideways on my head. But anyway, so anyway, I straightened the helmet. You know, I grabbed the face, man. That was painful to get the helmet around straight. And you know, I get back in the huddle. Way to go, Russ! Hey man, way to get him, way to get him. I'm thinking, God damn, you crazy guy, way my butt. You know, all I want to do is get out of here, get me off of this football field. And my replacement back then, I think, was Loopy something, but I can't remember his name. And right after that play, because the coach thought I was dead, probably, he sent in Loopy, and that replaced me. And then I didn't get to play the rest of the game, and I knew I wouldn't because I was so crappy. But anyway, that was my football career, most of it. And then after that, you know, whenever they went, we went on to a football game to play. Did I ever get to play? Yeah, if we were ahead about 85-0, then I'd get to go play. But even then, I was so freaking nervous when I got sent in that, I mean, whenever the play was called by the quarterback in the huddle, I'd hear it, you know, but nothing clicked. You know what I mean? I didn't immediately say, okay, I got to run 20 yards down left or what, you know, I had to do this particular route. Well, it didn't, none of that. I mean, I was just brain dead, man. But anyway, I did get to play a little bit. Was I a hero? No. But for some reason, the girls didn't care. The girls didn't care if you were a hero or not. The fact that you were on the football team made you a semi-celebrity. You know, the fact that you got sweaty and beat up live and in color in front of them on a Friday night somehow stimulated them, because it was no problem getting a date at all. I mean, if you played football, you were okay. I mean, they'd be honored, you know. And then later on, if you lettered, you know, which I did one time out of 4 years, then you know you had a jacket, you know, you would give to your girlfriend to wear. You know what I mean? And some guys' football jackets had patches all up and down both sleeves, you know, state this, or, you know, quarterfinal, you know, Superman this and Superman that. Mine didn't have any. No, I didn't have any. I didn't win any awards. None. If I won an award, it was for warming the bench the longest time in 4 years. That was it. That was my career. And the equipment never did fit. Even as I got older, it didn't make any difference at all. At all, none. You know, and of course, you know, again, you had to play football in Kennedy, Texas, to play any other sport. You couldn't just pick one. You couldn't just say, okay, I just play football and then that's it. Nope. Then you had to do the rest of them. And of course, the things I excelled at, that I was pretty good at, nobody cared about. You know, nobody came. You know, I played tennis. You know, I won the state championship. I know I've told you this. In my sophomore year, I won the district championship for class A high school, and me and the coach were there, and the players. That's it. that was the crowd. Yippee! And what else did I do? I played basketball. God dang! Woo! Get on Rusty, boy. Oh, Rusty! When they sent me in, you can rest assured that the game was in the bag. No, I was not a natural athlete. I did play golf a little bit too, pretty good at golf and tennis, but nobody ever came to golf and tennis. In Texas, football is king. Baseball, maybe queen, I don't know. But no, football's it. But anyway, having said that, guys, I'll end the video. We're coming into Marble Falls, Texas. got a little mist on the windshield. Glad I didn't play golf. And what else? The gas price here at this Sunoco station is $1.93 a gallon for regular unleaded. And so that's the way that is. But anyway, guys, just thought I'd give you a heads up on your star football player here, Rusty 78609. So anyway, thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye, buy anything you want. But if you think about it, use the link to Amazon products in the description of all of my videos. Why? Because I get a small commission, and it does not cost you 1 penny. And just remember, you'll be supporting a star football player from the actually that was the early 60s, 60, 61, 62 in there. Oh God, it gives me a headache to think about it. But anyway, what else? Drink plenty of water, stretch, walk, take deep breaths, stand guard at the door of your mind. Why? Because it make you feel good. You know, when you feel good, you want to do things. You want to enjoy life. You want to get out there and bust them. You know, get out there and bust heads, boys. I remember Coach Nelson, God almighty, he was like General Patton. Worse. He was worse. Did we win? Yep. We won district that year. In my 4 years in high school, we went to quarterfinals twice and semifinals once. Did I have anything to do with it? No. Moral support. I made a few jokes. I made a few jokes. That helped, I guess, about myself. And Coach Nelson used to even laugh. In fact, sometimes he'd send me in just to get even, you know, because I'd make jokes about him sometimes. He'd say, "Okay, funny guy, let's see you do this." You know, one of his suicide plays. He said, I did it one time. I never scored a touchdown, though. I never did that. I never even got close. Well, I say I did. I got to the 20. I caught a pass on the 20-yard line one time, and the guy hit me so hard my helmet came off and rolled up in the first row of stands. Anyway, guys, adios. Have a good day. Bye-bye.